February is going to be a critical month for the Nashville Predators. What will the shortest month of the year look like for a franchise that's reaching a crossroads?
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Locked On Predators podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for making us your first stop of the day. We are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. I want to start off by shouting out all of our Locked On Predators podcast community and our everydayers who tune in to chat all things Preds. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. And if you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. My name is Jack Williams, and I am the Nashville Predators beat writer for the Hockey News. And y'all, if y'all tuned in, this is your bonus episode. You know how schools have like makeup days for like snow and ice and what's not and all the crazy weather out there. Well, this is the makeup episode for Monday because I didn't record an episode on Monday because if you guys can remember, all the way back to last week, that was when we were still dealing with the repercussions, the full repercussions of the ice and snow. Many in Nashville are still dealing with it a week later. Unfortunately, the city's infrastructure has not been great in handling this, but hopefully by this time next week, it'll be fully cleared up. But in the podcast world, we were dealing with some weather over here in the Locked On Predators studio in East Nashville. So this is the makeup episode on Saturday for y'all. So I hope you enjoy it. I tried to find a fun topic to make worth it. I'm really trying to we're in a really weird period right now of the season where I think everybody's looking ahead with a lot of stuff between the Olympics, the 2 weeks. I believe it's a 2-week break for the Olympics. And then right after that, that's a trade deadline. So I think everybody is pushing ahead right now to February. And it makes sense because it's currently for you guys, January 31st. So February is the next day. It's a short time frame. And a lot's going to be happening in this month for the Nashville Predators in terms of what they want to do with this team, what they want to do with this group. This is the hard deadline. This is the decision point. The global series was kind of a pseudo check-in point, could have been a decision point. The Predators chose not to do much there. The only move they made in that week break after the global series game, it was a week break in the middle of November, was they moved Joakim Kemell down to Milwaukee. No other transactions came out of that time period. This is the decision point. This is the crossroads right here. This is the period that comes right before the trade deadline. No actions or anything can be done in this 2-week pause for the Olympics. However, that doesn't mean Barry Trotz isn't going to be having discussions and planning for that date coming up in March in that window of what do the Preds want to do here, in the sense that they're losing a lot lately, but in the other sense that if they can turn things around here, they can still be in contention for a wild card spot. He is truly at the point, and the Predators are at the point right now where they need to decide if they want to be a team that's going to full rebuild here or they want to keep pushing forward with a playoff team. And that puts us in a very interesting situation in breaking down the month of February. So that's what today's podcast is going to be like. First segment, we're going to talk about pre-Olympics, basically what's happening right now, the situation the Predators are in currently, and what that lines up in going into the break, which is the second segment is going to be the Olympic break. What kind of discussions are going to be going on during the Olympic break? What should you watch for during the Olympic break? And mainly stuff like that in a dead period where there might not be seeming like there's a lot going on, but there are a lot of moving parts happening off the ice despite it being a dead period and break. Then finally, right after the Olympics, it's the period where they're approaching the deadline. I believe that is 5 games until the trade deadline after the Olympic break. Critical. Essentially, in my opinion, I think management's mind is going to be made up for what they want to do at the trade deadline and what they want to accomplish. And that period, depending on what the Predators look like, it's going to be up to the team to continue maybe following that vision that management might have or going against it, essentially. Because at that time, it might be rush time, essentially, if the games they have right now don't go their way. but we'll get into all of it so I don't ramble over myself and it becomes confusing. So let's head down the timeline together, y'all, and let's chat about this. Currently, the Nashville Predators have lost 5 of their last 6, and they've failed to score 2 goals in a game in their last 3 games. Those 5 of last 6 results have been losses. Those last 6 games have been a 7-2 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights in Vegas, a 5-3 loss to the Buffalo Sabres in Nashville, a 5-2 loss to the Utah Mammoth in Nashville, a 3-2 loss to the Boston Bruins in Boston, and then a 3-2 loss to the New Jersey Devils in Newark. Those 2 games against Boston and New Jersey were overtime results, similar games, similar scores, similar situations where the Preds are losing in the first minute of overtime, Their only win in this run has been a 5-3 win over the Ottawa Senators, and that's a game where they were losing 3-0 and had to come back. You can put in the same math, same situation in this game that we kind of been using all season. Essentially, if they were playing any other team, if they were playing in another situation, would they be able to come back and win this game? Ottawa is not very good. They've beaten down on the Senators before. Was this a situation to where it's more so about the opponent they're playing, less about what they were able to do? Because we've seen a lot of these games where they go down, they come back, and lately they have not been able to complete those comebacks. As we've seen in a lot of the results recently, the only one that happened was Ottawa. Now, in my opinion, they're in a similar place that they were in November, December right now, except on the opposite in a way, if that makes sense. Follow me here. They are a team that once again is putting themselves into the comeback kid role, which I cannot stand because it's just not good hockey. It's not feasible hockey. It's not good sports, period. You don't want to be constantly coming back. It's fun occasionally. It's not fun to do every night. It makes the games exciting completely as a fan, but as a team, as an organization, you don't want to be doing that every night, and you cannot be embracing that mentality at all. The focus needs to be coming out from the gate and getting a good start and being able to keep pace with the team or being able to run away from them, essentially. You do not want to be giving up the lead out of the gate immediately. And that's a lot of from what we're hearing from leadership, like guys like Ryan O'Reilly, Steven Stamkos, Philip Forsberg, Roman Josi, especially in that November, December stretch of, we're winning, but we don't want to be losing the game from the top of it. We like the comeback effort. We like that we were able to come back, but we don't want to be doing that every night. We want to be ahead at the beginning of the night. Right now, they are in that similar situation to where they're in a position to be coming back constantly, but they're not the comeback kids right now. They are the comeback. I can't even think of a phrase right now for what they are. They're the making it almost all the way kids, essentially, almost all the way. They've had a handful of potential comebacks they have not been able to complete here. They put in good efforts. They make it competitive, absolutely. But unlike, like I said, to November to December, late November into December and into parts of January, they're not completing these comebacks here. This is a different team. This is a different identity. This is a different league they're taking on. This is a team with different standards from November and December. November and December was getting back into just being a competitive team, getting out of the basement of the league and getting into having a chance of competing with a wild card. Now in January, late January into February, this is a team that has been trying to get into the playoffs. That's a completely different mentality than November to December. And the need to win becomes a different definition in sorts, and it becomes even more critical. It's no longer about points to get out of the basement. It's points to lift your season into May, June, essentially. Talking about some stats here, they're bottom 10 in the league in scoring at 24th with a 2.81 goals per game. They had a stretch here in the season where there were a few games where they really popped off. You had those games against the Blues. You had a big game against the Colorado Avalanche. Popped in here and there, but especially as of late, that total has fallen when you're scoring 2 against the Golden Knights. 3 and 5 are where you peaked against Ottawa and Buffalo. One's a loss, one's a win. But then you have 2 against the Mammoth, you have 2 against the Bruins, and then you have 2 against the Devils. That essentially equates out to you're falling just below 3 goals per game, and that's bottom 10 in the league right now. They need to be scoring, especially lately what we've been seeing. I think there's been I want to say it's been 30. It's been a ridiculous amount of hat tricks in January. It's been 20 or 30. It's way over 15 or 10. But that shows that the scoring has picked up immensely as of late. And in order for the Preds to be a competitor here, they need to follow that pace completely. They can no longer be behind the ball. Again, the standard, the vision of what the team wants, as in the players, the coaches want, is very different than what it is from November to December. They need to keep pace with the scoring completely. So another few stats that I want to read off here as well. They do have the 15th best power play in the league at 20.8 efficiency, 20.8% efficiency. That's a major improvement from the beginning of the year. If you guys remember all the way in the nether days, the years of yore, all the way in the early part of the season, the power play was abysmal. It was really, really bad. Like, I'm talking 2 goals on like 30 opportunities, and it's really recovered here. And they've been leaning on it a lot lately too. So if there's any wins to take out of what's happening right now with this team, it's got to be the power play and the special teams. The PK is 11th best in the NHL, 81%. In my opinion, that's a slight decrease from the beginning of the year, but to still have a top 15 PK, one spot outside the top 10, that's nothing to be about. That's a good number. So the special teams is something good that this team should take away. It's bread and butter. Again, want to go back to some of my earlier comments and kind of hammer down again on them again. Said this is something that you don't want to hone in on and have you pull you through wins, essentially. If it's power plays, yeah, sure, but definitely not the penalty kill. But special teams is something good going on right now. This is a team that's also allowing the 6th most goals in the NHL per game at 3.4. Again, we've seen that a lot lately. You have Buffalo and Utah. Those are 2 5-goal results. And you have Vegas, which is a 7-goal result in 3 games in that stretch between Buffalo, Utah, and Vegas. And you slide Ottawa in there as well. That's 3 goals too. So that is 7. 5 plus 5 is 10. 7, 17. And you had 3 more goals in there. That's 20 goals allowed in 4 games. That's just no bueno at all. And then if we want to add the whole total together of this stretch too, you add 3 more. I think I did that math right. 10, 7, 1, 2, 3, 20. You add 3 more, 23. That's 26. You're getting outscored 26 to 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, 26 to 16, so like a 10-goal differential. I am sorry if I did that math wrong. It is currently 11 p.m. I don't know why I put off the recording this at night. I guess I do my best rambling and talking to you guys at night. So if my math skills are a little rusty right now, I apologize. I am a little tired, but it's a wide goal gap no matter what. The interesting part of all of this too is that the Predators are actually 3rd in the league in offensive zone possession time at 43.1%. But they're like one of the lowest scoring teams in the NHL. And they're giving up the most goals in the league. That stat doesn't make any sense to me, essentially. And if you want to make sense of it, or the way that I was able to make sense of it, it shows that this team is attacking well, is spending a lot of time in their opponent's own zone, and is able to, I guess, get good possession on ice and get ready to attack well again, like I said, but they're not getting good opportunities on net. They're not getting good looks on net. Every goaltender is not the best goaltender in the league that they've seen. They're positioned well, but they're not getting good shots on, essentially. Is that what it comes down to? Where you're not scoring, but you have the puck almost. I mean, you're 7 ticks off of 50% of the game. Like, that's an interesting stat to me to like kind of break down a little bit more. 43.1% in your opponent's in the offensive zone, which is 3rd in the league, but you are in the bottom 10 of scoring in the league. And then maybe that backtracks to last year, essentially, in which I don't think too many people want to hear too much about that. But in the sense of, this is a good team, but they're not putting it together. And that goes even more backwards from December and November, and saying that there's a lot of talent here and it's not putting it together. I know the segment's running long, y'all, so I'll try to push through this last segment here as much as I can, and then we could jump on to the next one. The biggest issues in my mind is essentially they're not doing enough to win. you're having wins slip away, especially these 2 overtime losses. You're getting down early and you're having to chase the game. Essentially, you're just not doing enough to win, period. You sat on Fedor Svechkov for too long. He's finally down in Milwaukee at the end of January. This should have been a move that happened at the beginning of the year. And I understand he's a kid and getting more opportunities. And again, like I said, I don't think any of this is his fault at all. He's a young kid trying to find his opportunity and his way in this league. I think management and coaching definitely understood that he was not ready in this role, especially in the pressure in the beginning of the year to center a guy like Steven Stamkos and try to get him going. Like, he just should have gone down way earlier, and I think they just sat on it for too long, and they should have tried to move more guys up in Milwaukee. I just don't understand. I understand in the sense of, oh, well, the Olympic break's coming up, so we don't want to move too many guys. But then in the opposite sense of, well, why didn't you do this in the beginning of January? Another issue, the defense has been dreadful. I've harped on this before. It just doesn't look good. You have 2 guys that have really shown up this year, and everyone else has just been either mid or just terrible. Bottom 6 needs more lift. You have some really good guys on the wing, but it's mainly down the middle. You need better centers. You need guys contributing, and I think you need to move more away from the whole tough guy perspective of everything, essentially, and you need scoring at the end of the day, especially when you're not getting it done and you're towards the bottom of the league when it comes to scoring. Now, getting into the Olympic break, there are 4 games before the break. That is January 31st tonight for you and for you guys. And maybe I should have previewed the game, but this is a little bit more interesting. January 31st at the New York Islanders, February 2nd versus the St. Louis Blues, February 4th versus the Minnesota Wild, and then February 5th at the Washington Capitals. Those are the final 4 games before the Olympic break. Then everything pauses. You have a back-to-back in there too against the Wild at home, and you're going off to Washington. And at the end of the day, when you want to group it together, what needs to be done for them, you have to stop making the effort hard. And by that, I mean getting a lead early, expanding, or just keeping pace. The overtime effort no longer can be a coin flip mentality, as they've been saying. They need to get on the top of the puck quicker, and maybe they need to put new pairings out there. They need to do more 3-on-3 practice, essentially, because what we've seen in the last 2 games is dreadful. That's not acceptable. Obviously winning, but that's easier said than done, and that's just a very broad thing to explain. And then you got to get at least within 2 points of a wild card spot if you want to keep this team together by the Olympic break. I know a lot of that is about the teams in front of you, and listen, San Jose is a wagon right now. They're playing really good hockey. Seattle's really good. LA's finding ways to win. Anaheim's finding ways to win. Utah continues to stay in that wild card 1 spot, but you need to find ways to control your destiny in the best way that you can. You cannot expect your team to lose and then hope for the other teams in front of you to lose as well. You need to make it manageable at this point. And right now, 5 points is not manageable. You're 3 games out, essentially. You need to win 3 games and then have a bunch of people lose in front of you in order to get in position as well. The most you can do is win right now, and that's what they need to do. And like I said, I haven't said this yet, but in my opinion, getting into a wild card spot before the break is a miracle, honestly, truly. I do not think it can happen, but prove me wrong, I guess. But when we come back, we have talked about everything leading into the break, and coming up, we are going to talk about the Olympic break, what may be happening, what may not be happening. Essentially, nothing's going to be happening on the ice. Nothing's going to be done transaction-wise, but conversations, what to look for, and what could be leading it coming up to the trade deadline. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So after talking about the pre-Olympics for 20 minutes, we're going to talk about, and this is a little bit more brief, but we might be able to hash it out a little bit more. Essentially, we have another final segment that we have to get to, so maybe we don't want to hash it out as much, but we're going to talk about essentially what, in my opinion, may be happening during the Olympics and what may be going on in Barry Trotz's head, maybe some conversations off the record that they're having, because essentially everything freezes in the Olympics and then the trade deadline comes up right after. I said at the beginning of the episode, he needs to decide what needs to be done because they are at a crossroads right now, or they are at least coming right up to it. If they stay trying to keep losing, they are going to be, I don't know if you guys have seen Castaway, and towards the end of Castaway, like, what would you like? I'll briefly explain Castaway if you guys don't understand the reference. Essentially, it's like Tom Hanks, I think it's Helen Hunt. This movie like made in the 90s. Like he's getting ready to go get married to him, and then he goes on like a FedEx plane and it ends up crashing like on like a remote island in the middle of nowhere, and he's like out there for like several years, like a really long time. Well, he comes back, and then like the whole movie's about him like surviving on the island, and then towards the end of the movie he comes back and they save him and they bring him back to society or whatever. That's what I mean. But he comes back and he finds Helen Hunt, and she's like, I've already moved on. I've already got married. I've had to move on because like I mourned you. I believed you were dead, essentially. And the movie ends with him going, I think, down some sort of dirt road, and he's approaching a crossroads. That is what, if the Nashville Predators, I know we did the long way around on that, but that's what the Nashville Predators are going to be at, essentially, if this losing trend continues. And in my opinion, you have two choices. You sell, I think you sell either way, but you sell to either supplement the current core, or you sell to build the future. So selling to supplement the current core means you want to still commit with the group that you have, but you want to find ways to maybe trim off the fat a little bit more and start building up that muscle and finding your weak spots and finding ways where you can patch that up and create this team to give you that 5.6 point push into the wild card spot. In my opinion, that involves shelling off Cole Smith, Michael McCarron, Adam Wilsby, Justin Barron, and maybe Nick Perbix. Nick Perbix being on the lower end of that. I think Michael McCarron or Cole Smith, you could say one of them would stay, essentially. But, I mean, you need more. You can't just get physical presence. And I know they were offensively involved in the loss to the Devils a little bit more, but you need more from your fourth line a little bit more. I mean, a definition of that, in my opinion, that I've seen is last team I was covering was Keegan Kolesar on the fourth line. It was a guy that was able to put a physical impact into play and be one of those guys that can stand up for your stars, can lay heavy hits, but can score constantly and be a guy that's going to put up 20 points a season, 20, 30 points on the fourth line. You need more of that. You can't just have 10, 15 pointers a year with Smith and McCarron. You need more. You need more if you want to, again, supplement that core and build up. Adam Wilsby, in my opinion, just hasn't done much. And the defense has just been a mess. You need more, and that's someone you could package up. Justin Barron, you either get rid of him or you move him down to Milwaukee. There's no reason he should be up in Nashville still. Like, I just can't get on that, other than him being the healthy scratch guy. And then Nick Perbix, maybe you lean on a little bit longer since this is his first year and you have him on a kind of a bigger contract. But they have him a lot of money at the deadline. So, I mean, if you think about it, maybe this is someone you could get something a little bit more for. But that's answering the first part of going forward with this and building for it. Then you have sell, buy out everything, build for the future. What can you get for decent pieces? And I'm not talking about like selling your stars, like the big players. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about supplemental pieces and Ryan O'Reilly. So that, in my opinion, includes Ryan O'Reilly, Michael Bunting, Nick Blankenburg, and Eric Holla in that mix. I don't think Philip Forsberg's going anywhere. I don't think Roman Yossi's going anywhere. I don't think Steven Stamkos is going anywhere. I don't even think Jonathan Marchessault is going anywhere. I made a little meter, like a little heat meter of if I think guys are staying or leaving, in my opinion. It'll be interesting to look back on it and see how right or wrong I was, essentially, or if it was like, okay, maybe it was like 50-50, or I don't know, be interesting. But those are the guys that I think are, if you want to build for the future, these are guys that you can actually get good pieces for. You could get higher draft picks for, and then maybe bring in some strong pieces that can be supplementary and towards building for the future. And I just felt like I ran around a circle for like 10 minutes saying that. Larger draft picks, guys can fill the gaps. I just said that. So those are the two questions I think Trotz needs to answer during the Olympics. And him and management need to figure out what path they want to go down. Those games at the end of the Olympic break that we are in right now, before the Olympic break, will decide what mindset they will have going into this. And this will set up the conversation of what path they want to go as the trade deadline comes up. Getting away from trade stuff a little bit more, watch the guys in the Olympics. Enjoy that, y'all. It's a thing to celebrate. It's a thing to get excited about. Philip Forsberg's going to be with Team Sweden. Roman Yossi's going to be with Switzerland. Eric Holla and UC Saros are going to be with Finland. It's going to be fun to watch these guys in these games. It's going to be so exciting to watch NHL hockey back on the biggest international stage. I'm not talking about the World Cup of Hockey or the Four Nations face-off. This is the Olympics, and it's so great to have professional hockey back there again, even if it is a mess in what Italy has created with their ice rink situation. But enjoy that, take that in, but also keep in mind there may be a fatigue factor with these guys coming back into play. And the same thing, too, the guys taking a break. It's going to be catch-up for just about everybody, honestly. You have these four guys playing in some really high-intensity games, some of the biggest just competitive matchups in the world here. They're competing for their country. There's a lot of heart in these games. And coming back into NHL hockey, that level of play is still there. So just keep in mind that they're really going to be competing there, and they're really going to put their bodies through it, essentially, because there's a lot on the line here. So just taking the fact there may be some injuries coming back, maybe some fatigue. And then for the guys that haven't been doing anything for 2 weeks, there's also the other end of it of just been kind of hanging out and then getting thrown back into play. It might take a little bit to catch up. Keep an eye on the guys down in Milwaukee. I need to enunciate here. I'm running through this a little quick. Svechkov mainly getting sent down there. In my opinion, the main purpose he's getting sent down here is to get him some reps during the Olympic break. So he's not doing anything. He's not playing well in Nashville. Get him down to Milwaukee. Get him a few games down there in Milwaukee. See what he does. If he excels, maybe bring him back up to Nashville. If he's still on a pace where you want to see more games out of him, leave him down there. But essentially keep an eye on him mainly and see if he makes ready to make that step back up into Nashville, or if he's just going to keep continuing dominating down in Milwaukee. And then high chance for two guys, in my opinion, get called up. That's Ryan Ufko on the defensive end, especially in either situation, in my opinion, if they get rid of defensemen, Ryan Ufko should be called up. And then Zachary Leroux, who has been a wagon down there. I know his penalty minutes have spiked up a little bit lately, but his offensive output has warranted him a chance here in Nashville. And then more guys possibly move down, like Justin Barron or Adam Wilsby, essentially, or maybe, try Matthew Wood for someone else, or Ozzy Wise, but I don't know what they're going to do. Essentially, look out for that, any sort of changes like that for sure. Look, the camera finally focused in. Isn't that crazy, y'all? If you guys are watching, I apologize. But if you saw me backing away from the camera a little bit, it was because I was trying to get it to catch focus, because I was watching it and watch the background stay in focus, but me wasn't. But apparently I just needed to throw my hands up and it went back into focus. Anyway, it's going to be a busy break for Predators management for sure. So just keep an eye on that. keep your brains going as well, but also enjoy the Olympic hockey. We have not gotten this since 2014. Celebrate it. Get excited about it. It's going to be fantastic. Before we get into the last segment, I want to talk to you guys about BAM, the Everydayer Club. Thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Predators with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $50 a year or $5 a month. I switched those around in my script, in my mind. Go to lockedonpredators.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. When we come back, we will be talking about what's going to happen after the Olympic break and essentially all the chaos that may or may not come. It will be a fun close to this bonus podcast. So stick with me. We're going to do an ad break and then we will come back. So yeah, hang tight, y'all. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look back at the messier parts of how we run our businesses and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with your customers. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes the replies faster and more personal. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number. And Quo's smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps, so details never slip through the cracks. It's no surprise Quo is rated the #1 business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnhl. That's QUO.com/lockedonnhl. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. So now we theoretically in this episode, hypothetically in this episode, the Olympics are over, and now it's about the march and approach to the trade deadline. This is crunch time. This is where, if anything's going to happen, it will happen. Maybe the Preds want to create some drama and do it on deadline day, which is March 6th. But a lot of transactions also happen leading up to the day. Barry Trotz said earlier this year as well, a lot of teams aren't making moves right now is because they don't know what position they're in because the standings have been so tight all over the leagues. But this being the deadline, they have to make moves. And considering how tight things are, when the deadline kind of forcing their hand, we might see a chaotic deadline where everybody's waiting for to make the trades and see what's going to happen. Maybe their hand does need to be forced, including the Nashville Predators. There will be 5 games until the trade deadline, starting off with the first game back from the Olympic break. That's against the Chicago Blackhawks in Nashville on February 26th, followed by the Dallas Stars in Dallas on February 28th. Then it's the Detroit Red Wings in Nashville. I almost said the Montreal Canadiens for some reason on March 2nd. Then they go to Columbus facing the Blue Jackets on March 3rd. And then the final game before the trade deadline will be in Nashville against the Boston Bruins on March 5th. In my opinion, there won't be changing much of Trotz's mind and the management's mind at this point. I think things had already been discussed in that down period. By the time these games arrive, they will know what they want to do at the trade deadline. They will know what they want to move. And most importantly, they will know what their mindset is going to be. This stretch of games comes down to the team. And if it's currently the pattern that they're on right now, they are going to desperately need to show that they want to stick together. If they lose a bunch of games right before the Olympic break, which they have, they're going to need to win a ton in order to show Barry Trotz and this management team, who will likely be leaning a little bit more towards selling out and focus for a rebuild, that they want to stay together. But it will be hard to sway the minds of management in this stretch. They need to win as much as they can when it comes to the stretch, even if they are a team that, maybe Barry Trotz has the mindset of wanting to stick to supplementing this core that's still there. They're still going to need to win as much as they can to show how this team is vital together, how close they are, how tight they are, how they're getting everything working, how they are a good team together. It's about the team here and what they want at this point to combat what management is getting ready to do. Michael McCarron made a comment from a fantastic question asked by Russell Venozzi after one of the games. I'm trying to get him focus again. Okay, well, I won't worry about it. Back to hockey. Michael McCarron had a wonderful comment after one of the games. Russell Venozzi asked about, like, this is when they were winning at the time, saying like, oh, well, do you think the winning is going to make it harder for management to make any sort of decisions when it comes to trade and stuff like that? And he said their job is to make management's jobs harder, and they believe that they're going to stay together. That was like 2 weeks ago. So mentality might have changed a little bit more. But like I said, I think Trotz's mind will be set at this point about what he wants to do completely. But if the Predators want to stay together as a group, they need to set the tone yesterday. You're kind of running on a runway here when you're coming up to the Olympic break and the games you have left. Like I said earlier, scroll up here. I believe I said there was 4 left. 1, 2. Yeah, there's 4 games left. And then there's one tonight for you guys. When that's over, you're down to 3. I mean, you're running out of just chances to show that this group should stay together, especially now when you're losing games quickly in overtime. You continuously need to come back, showing that you're not playing full 60-minute hockey. Like, the chances here are starting to dwindle more for the team to show that they want to stick together. So if I was general manager and I was making decisions for this team and watching this group right now, I would be like, you know what? In my opinion, as a general manager, again, I'd be like, this team looks like it has good pieces. I think we need to sell in order to supplement the core. In my general manager mind, again, I don't think this team needs to be a full rebuild right now, but I think there needs to be definitely a handful of pieces moved in order to supplement the group more. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to make your hockey team better, but it's just about the ways you want to go. Do you want to play the long game, or do you want to do short-term, long-term success, essentially? But to wrap up this episode, I kind of did a little bit of a 4 temperature scale on if I think guys are going to be staying or getting traded or what's so not. So we'll go through this right now to wrap it up, and I'll make it a little fun and have some little quips with each of them. So I had not moving at all, likely staying, more likely to get traded, because I didn't know how to word this. The one from like second from the top is more likely to get traded. And then start packing, essentially that I think no matter what happens, they're going to be gone by the trade deadline. So not moving at all. And let's be so real right now, you guys. Roman Yossi's not going anywhere. Philip Forsberg's not going anywhere. UC Saros is not going anywhere. I think it'd be a very dumb decision after you signed him to a 2-year extension to get rid of Justus Annunen. And I think the Predators have long-term goals for him. So I don't think he's moving at all. And then Brady Shea isn't moving at all because he has an awful contract, and nobody in their right mind is going to take on that contract. I believe he also has a no move clause. And I don't really think he would like to get traded, essentially. And if he does, I just don't know who's going to pick up that contract. So even if he wants to leave, I don't think there's much of a way out for him. So I don't think he's moving. Likely staying, Luke Evangelista. That's very obvious. Jonathan Marchessault, contract. Yeah, contract. I don't think he wants to leave, essentially. And he has a no move. Ryan O'Reilly. As much as you guys would like a blockbuster here, I don't think he's leaving, essentially. As of now, as of January 30th, 31st for y'all, I don't think he's moving. Steven Stamkos is not moving, or at least he's likely staying. I would put him in the not moving at all category, but there's rumors around him, so keep him in there. Ozzy Weisblatt and Matthew Wood, you keep your young guys here. Nick Hague's injured, and this team likes him too much for some reason. I know that's mean to say, but they like him, and I think they want to see more of him. I think he stays. Nick Perbix. I put in here, if there was like a line between likely staying and most likely get traded, Nick Perbix would be right there. You brought him on to fix the defense. You have him on a little bit more of a bigger contract. If I was a general manager, I'd say, I don't know. It's tricky because he isn't playing well. And it is a guy that you could get a little bit more on the market for if you put him out there, but I don't know. I think he could be in either or, honestly. But that's for likely staying. More likely to get traded. I have Eric Halla. He's just a good veteran piece at center that you can use in the bottom six of any team. It's really likely to get moved, and he's not. He's like on a 1 year, right? He's in the final year, and the Predators picked him up on like a 1 year. So I mean, if you don't like him, you can get rid of him into free agency. If you like him, you can extend him essentially. Tyson Jost. Unless the Predators like this whole keep him as the like 13th forward, I think he's gone. But if the Predators like that 13th forward mentality, they'll keep him. Michael McCarron. I understand he's a fan favorite again, y'all, and I've not read the comments because I've said stuff about Michael McCarron before, but you just need more out of him. You need more scoring out of the guy. I understand his role as like an enforcer and a physical guy, but he needs to be more on offensively involved. And I understand he scored a goal last game, but it's just not enough. And the same says for Cole Smith. Good on the PK, but like, you can't keep costing your team penalty minutes. Andreas Englund, I don't understand why this man's still here. I think the Predators are just waiting out that contract, honestly. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone in a package deal. Adam Willsby, the same thing. I'd see him getting packaged up as well. And then start packing. These are guys I think are gone completely. Michael Bunting, he's just had a good year. And he could be fit into any team's bottom six. Like anywhere, he's affordable too. It makes so much sense that he'd be gone by the trade deadline. As so good as he's been for this team, like it's cost him in staying in Nashville a little bit more, as he has been just so appealing to the rest of the team. The rest of the league, the same could be said for Nick Blankenberg too. I think he's gone as well. Just he's been a good defensive beast and a guy that you can use in the bottom pairing or the second pairing, essentially on a contender. He's a gritty guy. He's short and he fights. He has a good just battle mentality out there. He battles and works for everything out there, and I think he deserves his moment. He deserves a good contract, absolutely. And then I have Justin Barron here too. I think he gets packaged for picks or something like that. So those are my opinions on February, or I don't know February in Spanish. I'm not going to try it. I almost said January in Spanish, so it goes to show I probably should not try to say February is February in German. But that's all I got for you, y'all. It's another long one, so I apologize. We'll get on a roll next week and talk about the games. And then in February, in the break, I'll line up some guests for y'all. We'll do some fun episodes. I'm going to be seeing my dad in February as well, who is a big hockey guy. He's the guy who inspired me to be as into the sport as I am, played at the D1 level, listens to all these episodes, loves listening to the podcast, loves hockey too, big college hockey guy. So if you guys want to see him on the podcast, I will be seeing him in New Orleans in February for Mardi Gras. So maybe we'll have him on an episode, but we'll have some more fun episodes coming in February to fill the game gaps for sure. But as for today, I am at Jack G. Williams on Twitter /X. You can find all my work on the Hockey News Nashville Predators. And then you can find Locked On Predators at LO_Predators on Twitter. And then Locked On Predators on Facebook and Instagram. And again, if you guys love the show, want to get it ad-free and add members-only Discord access to it, join the Everyday Club. $5 a month, $50 a year. Great deal. But that's all I got for you guys. I will see y'all next week on another episode of the Locked On Predators episode. And again, very appreciative all, very thankful for y'all. Hopefully you guys are thawing out, getting warm again. Hopefully everybody's getting their power back, getting settled again. Very appreciative of you guys. Hopefully y'all have taken advantage. If you don't have any water or power, there was an event at Bridgestone on Friday that allowed fans to go get a hot meal, fill up their water bottles, charge their devices. Really just great move by Bridgestone Arena and the Nashville Predators. Nashville SC is having an event on Sunday too. That is, just to get people's minds off everything. I think there's a little bit of a family event going on at Geodis, and I believe there's resources readily available there too. So if you guys are in need of that too, that is free for everyone as well. It's been a hard week for the Nashville community here, but this is a strong community. This is a battle-tested community, and hopefully by this point next week we'll be out of this and everyone will be back to normal. But again, like I said, grateful, thankful for y'all. Have some fun episodes coming up. Had a fun January here. And thank you for joining me for another episode of the Locked On Predators episode. I will chat with you guys next week.